In 536 AD, people across Europe and parts of Asia started noticing something really weird. The sun looked off, like it was still there, but it wasn't bright. One historian at the time basically said it looked like the moon, just this weak, dull light in the sky. And this wasn't like a cloudy week or something. This went on for over a year. Like, imagine going outside every day and it just feels wrong, dim, cold, kind of eerie. No one knew what was happening. And back then, if the sun started acting weird, that was a big deal, because everything depends on it. Now we know what likely caused it. A massive volcanic eruption, probably in Iceland, shot a ton of ash into the atmosphere. And that ash basically spread out and blocked sunlight, so the whole northern hemisphere just got darker. This is what scientists call a volcanic winter, and temperatures dropped too, by like 2 degrees Celsius globally, which is actually huge. That's enough to mess up growing seasons everywhere. And yeah, that's exactly what happened. Crops failed, like across multiple regions at the same time. There are records from Ireland talking about years with basically no bread. China had reports of snow falling in the summer, which is insane. So now you've got this situation where the sun is weak, it's colder than it should be, crops aren't growing, which means food starts running out. And once food runs out, things get bad really fast. People start starving. Communities start breaking down. Trade slows because there's nothing to trade. And remember, there's no backup system, no imports from across the world, no grocery stores. If your local crops fail, that's it. You're in trouble. And on top of that, people had no idea what was causing any of this, so it probably felt like the world itself was just failing. Now here's the part that really makes 536 stand out. A few years later, around 541, you get hit with a massive plague, the Justinian plague. This was an early version of the bubonic plague, and it spread fast. In Constantinople, it was killing thousands of people per day at its peak. Some estimates say it wiped out up to a third of the population in some areas. So think about the timing here. People are already weak from hunger, the climate is still messed up, and then a deadly disease shows up. That's just brutal. And this is important. 536 wasn't just one bad year. It kicked off a really rough period. Scientists think this was the start of the coldest decade in over 2,000 years. There were even more volcanic eruptions in the years after, which made things worse. So if you were born around this time, you didn't just have a bad year. Your whole early life was basically survival mode. Now yeah, there are other awful times in history. The Black Death was devastating. World wars were catastrophic. Slavery was horrific and lasted for centuries. But 536 is different because it stacks everything together. You've got climate disaster, global food shortages, economic collapse, and then a massive plague, all hitting within a short window. It's not just one problem, it's everything at once. So, why isn't this talked about more? Mostly because it's not dramatic in the usual way. There's no single event you can point to like this exact moment changed everything. It's more like a slow collapse. Also, records from that time are kind of limited. A lot of what we know comes from things like tree rings and ice cores, which is wild. Like, we figured out one of the worst periods in history from literal frozen air and old wood. So yeah, if you had to pick the worst time ever to be born as a human, 536 CE is a pretty strong answer. Not because of one big disaster, but because everything went wrong at once. The sky got darker, the world got colder, food disappeared, and then disease showed up to finish the job. Honestly, just terrible timing.